everybody. Welcome back to the Baba Show. Today, I'm going to be discussing, I think, an already well explored topic, but I still think it's an interesting concept, nonetheless, because I don't think that no one has given a very satisfying answer yet. And so today, I'm going to be doing my best to deliver a very satisfying answer. And yeah, so today's topic is phones and the poison of phones. And I'll be breaking this down from sort of a human nature perspective and human gender dynamics, how the different genders interact with each other. And yeah, I think everyone knows that with the society of phones and the mobile phone culture that we have today, um, there's a lot less trust in the world. There's xenophobia. Xenophobia is sort of the fear of strangers, and everyone sort of has xenophobia because of sort of how the reputation of men has fallen into the gutter due to many infamous men in the past. Of course, not all the blame on them because there's always been guys out there like Jack the Ripper, etc., etc. But we now have many men that should have been unknown come into the limelight because of social media and YouTube videos. And now there's so much information and videos out there about all the different stories of all the different bad guys and bad women all over the world. So definitely men as a gender have taken a big hit to our reputation. And besides that, with just of course, the advent of the internet, how easy it is to access a lot of certain and different kinds of content online, it sort of makes you second guess every time you take a look at someone new. Maybe you're walking to the supermarket, or maybe you're walking just anywhere. You sort of never really know who that person is, especially with the advent of the internet, because anything was possible, especially with the internet. And I think also, of course, everyone shares the same sentiment as myself. Like, life was more enjoyable 10 years ago, 2016. I was 13 at the time. I think I was like in eighth grade going to, yeah, I was in eighth grade or seventh grade. And I think life was a lot better back then. I didn't know how, I think I knew how good I had it back then because, of course, when you're 13, life, especially, I was just playing like games all day. I was just watching anime, playing games. I think life was awesome. Life was great. And back then, doing those stuff was still enjoyable, I guess. Um, Maybe games, well, that's a different topic, but games were more fun back then. The culture was different. TV shows were more fun, I think. The culture was different. And overall, life was more fun. Even if you weren't 13, maybe you were a lot younger, or maybe you were older, I think life during 2016 was pretty good. And then we took a big hit during the pandemic because just just governments, the government abusing their power for no reason. Some people might disagree. Some people might say it was warranted. I don't think it was warranted. We just saw a lot of people in power having parties when they told us not to have parties. So um, yeah, definitely an abuse of power there. Um, And overall, this just took a big hit ever since 2020. We've been slowly recovering from 2020. I think 2026 now, 2025, 2026. I think ever since Trump became president again, our culture is slowly recovering back to. Um, I don't think it's in its glory days of 2016, 2017, 2015. Maybe maybe later this summer, maybe next couple of years. But yeah, we just that's something to know. I think that's an important part to play as an important historical note in modern day very, very modern day history. And so back to the topic, the poison of phones, and how we're gonna frame this discussion, and um, sort of the basis for the lecture. Sorry, the Senate condescending. So the basis for this video is that, of course, as we should all know by now, and we should all ingrain in ourselves, um, men men want to be respected. Men give attention and love. Men are sources of attention and love. Well, men primarily give attention and love. Women want to be loved. Women primarily give their heart, soul, body, mind, and strength. Basically giving heart, soul, body, and mind and strength. Basically, yeah, I guess simplify. They primarily give their strength. So, given these factors, we now throw the recent, recent curveball of the modern day, which is the mobile phone, and sort of how that has affected this dynamic. So, ever since the mobile phone, especially ever since the smartphone in 2008, what has happened to all these dynamics? So, we can use everyday situations to break this down. Just an encounter walking down the street, we can see how this dynamic sort of has altered and shifted. So we could break it down one by one. It's possible to break it down one by one, of course. So men want to be respected. So a key aspect of respect is like INTJs and ESFPs know this well, is giving someone your undivided attention. And I think as soon as I said that, everyone noticed the big red flag there. So undivided attention, that is something that men no longer really get nowadays, because you walk anywhere, any store, any place outside, everybody's on their phones. And most of the ladies are on their phones. So just off the bat, a lot of the what's the sort of phrase? Just off the bat, men are a lot less respected than they used to be in the past, because now ladies are giving attention to their phones and not other people. And this sounds like narcissistic, because maybe they have something important to do on their phone, but just comparing it to the past, just using relative metrics, I think it's pretty obvious that it's a lot different from the past, of course, and men are given a lot less attention. And I think a lot of people don't undervalue and underestimate this aspect. They think men are sort of instead of more of a feminine thing to give your attention, but actually as a basis respect, and actually just the start of any sort of relationship. Attention is the start of the game. If someone doesn't know you exist, and how can you build a relationship with someone that you doesn't know who exists? So we have those two key factors in play. So just attention is taking away potential prospects, potential relationship prospects. So We can see that, of course, in the statistics. We can see that, of course, in just day-to-day life. A lot less couples than before. And of course, we just have the, I think, the underlying factor that I don't think people um, really give attention to themselves, that women are actually giving less attention towards men, and that sounds like nothing too irregular, because like we all understand, it's more of a feminine, it's more of a masculine thing to give attention, and for men to get attention it's rather feminine. But um, from going through like the full spectrum of respect, giving someone your undivided attention, that's definitely a big part of respect. So because of this phone culture, um, men are like a lot less respected than before right off the bat, because they're no longer getting like a woman's full undivided attention. Um, Not to sound like a broken record, but it's not like the 80s or 90s or early 2000s. And the 2010s weren't too bad, because the algorithms were, getting up there. Um, but it wasn't the worst. It just wasn't the worst. So there was still room for people to explore and grow. And nowadays, it's just the algorithms are a lot stronger than before, of course, because now they have like 12, 13 years of data collection, um, eye tracking. So they just know really how to pin people down and really drive people to their apps and make a lot of money. And an example of no one believes me, Tinder. I'm sure Tinder back in the day when I was a kid, when I wasn't on the app, was a lot more fun. You could actually pursue a relationship, like maybe back in 2015, 2016. Nowadays, there's so many upsells, so many things to get you to stay on the app, so many like a lot of deception on there, like especially for guys. Like no matter how much you pay, I guarantee it's no way it's gonna work out compared to how it works out in person. And I guess this is a knock on all businesses, or maybe this is just a knock on everyone, everyone trying to make a buck, or everyone trying to make a living. If you really loved or cared about someone, you would tell them the truth, like, hey man, there's actually a better alternative. It's actually getting off the app and doing something in person. You'll actually have a better shot. But they're trying to make a buck, so not all the love is there. There's no TLC, of course, but that's a long story. So I think even Tinder, like Vine, other apps back in the day were a lot more fun than apps are today. Just the algorithm, the upselling weren't as refined and polished as it is now. It's very much refined and polished. 10, 12, 30, 20 years of experience with the internet, I think the hounds are a lot sharper. So we have that off the bat, and let's break down aspect number two. Men primarily give attention and love. So just to sum up point number one, men, so I think overall men feel a lot less respected, but it's so normalized that it's hard for men to pinpoint why. Maybe why women are less charming than before. Maybe why they're less interested to approach a woman. But I think this small aspect that I think people can catch, if I think if people catch on to this, I think it's going to be an interesting factor that people can, if you can identify where where the problem is, I think there's a way to alleviate and fix the problem. Or maybe once you understand that, you can sort of use that to your advantage, manipulate it somehow. Manipulation has a negative connotation, but just changing it somehow. And yeah, so I think men just walk around not knowing that they're kind of disrespected, not as respected as they used to be. And women are a lot less charming because they're a lot less lovable, because they don't give as much as respect as before. So women women have taken a hit in terms of their lovability factor just because of mobile phones, which is extremely interesting to my autistic mind, that it is just one piece of device. Of course, the device that changed the world can really take a really damage someone's prospects. Can seriously damage someone's prospects. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool to me. And so we go to number two. Men primarily give attention and love. What is happening in phone culture, and sort of a lot of men before me in the red pill space, or the red pill is sort of like the manosphere and just men's dating tips and tricks, has sort of already explored and dived into this topic. So what's interesting, even though we have mobile phones, I think we see this in reality. Guys are still giving attention on both fronts. They're giving um, attention in person, because not cause, but I was gonna go on that note. I haven't seen women complaining that men give a lot less attention than before. I think I haven't heard that. Maybe as an excuse to like divorce a guy. That's an excuse, by the way. For the most, that's an excuse 99% of the time. But I haven't seen a woman like really complain that a guy doesn't give her attention. Maybe if a guy is on a game too much, maybe you might hear that a woman complain that the guy is not giving her attention. But in terms of mobile phones, I never heard a woman complain that like because of this mobile phone, a guy is giving me less attention. So men nowadays with phone culture, they're giving attention to women in person on both fronts. Even while they're on their phones, if they see a pretty girl, they're most likely to give her attention, as well as online, like maybe on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever social media people use nowadays. I know people use Instagram or Snapchat. Um, they're giving their attention there as well, like texting a girl. Not knocking on this. There's a lot of downtime or free time in life. Maybe sending Snapchats, sending DMs, liking photos, just staring at photos of the half naked photos that girls post, which is I'm not I'm not gonna go too much into that. From This is the Bible show. I'm not sure how much I can say, but basically, men are giving attention in all fronts. So in the past, like in the older culture before the 80s, well, not before, like 70s, 80s, or 90s. Let's just throw the 70s in there as well. Men primarily gave their attention in person or face to face, and men really had to escalate their attention um, in order to maybe go on a date or maybe pursue something more. They could really leverage their attention and escalate it to um, take it to the next stage, take it to second base, third base, or something like that. And nowadays, men aren't in person, aren't there's no incentive to really escalate their attention, because of course we have point one from earlier, that women are a lot less respectful just unknowingly because they're on their phones all the time, so they're no longer giving their undivided attention, which is on paper sort of disrespectful. And so men don't really want to escalate their attention because the women aren't all that like they used to be. And now and men are escalating their attention a lot online, but they're getting very little in return. So I think that's sort of translating to how they operate in real life. If I'm giving all my attention online to this lady and I'm getting nothing in return, I'm probably not going to get anything in return if I give all my attention in real life. But actually, it's of course a little bit more different in real life. So the more attention that you give in real life, not in like, don't of course shoot yourself in the foot with that, but the more attention that you give in real life, the actually I think it can be very flattering to a woman if you really do care about her. So um, yeah, just a summary or breakdown of that. There's just so much attention out there. Men are giving way, like not. that's a common notion in the red pill space that men are giving way too much of their attention out there and getting nothing in return. Um, I think I think that is the case, but I also think there's a false like equivocation or equivalency where men see they're not getting any action or pull online, and that's translating to sort of their real life. That's why guys are sort of I think on average shooting their shot less because they just see that what happens online is the effort that they put online is not translating. So maybe that probably the effort that they put in person won't translate as well. And I sort of come from like a sports or um, like a competitive background. So like if you see like yourself, like maybe you're playing a video game or something, or like maybe you're doing some sort of sport. If you see yourself like doing this drill or practice, and you're you're hitting the ball over the net 10 times, like you're hitting a cross court, you're playing pickleball, you're doing tennis, you're doing a forehand drill, and it's not translating to your match play. You're gonna be very disappointed, and that's gonna take away a lot of your motivation to train, to play, to compete. And that's sort of what's happening. If we take a look at the female side of things, so they're receiving all this attention online, but of course, they're not really acting on it because of course, they don't really know who you are. So it's hard to really gauge a guy online, really hard. And they're getting this. I think from an objective perspective, I think women are getting the same amount of attention as they did back in the past, even with phones nowadays. I think a pretty lady can easily make a guy get off his phone, or easily make a guy easily grab a guy's attention. But they're not really getting that escalation that they used to in the past. So I think on that note, there's definitely a lot of reasons why that escalation is no longer happening. We have point one, of course, and then we have point two, just sort of maybe women not putting it. I think women not putting out online is sort of, especially in a digital age, if we're all shaking hands, like we have a handshake agreement that we're all gonna participate in this digital age. I think men assume that women should really, really somehow um, give something in return when men escalate their attention online, and that sort of disappointment. I think most definitely translates to real life because if men are getting shut down online or getting no's online, sort of a woman saying no, we could add that to sort of the just the negative energy aspect as before, and that's making men less inclined to escalate or approach in person, um, which is spreading negative energy on both sides. Men are less loving, so women are more closed off. So there's negative energy spread across the board, especially because online, um, again, we have another aspect where women are less charming than before. They're giving a lot of no's online, and there's only so many no's you can give where you become a little bit like you sort of lose your charm. So that's definitely a big aspect that has really changed the culture. And then point number three, woman wants to be loved. I think with phone culture, I think we sort of just broke it down. I think women are always on guard now, since with like all how easily explicit videos can be accessed, and the sort of culture that the internet and music has sort of created, of being lusted after. I think in the past, the culture around lust was different, with, of course, the church being more so dominant in the past. But I think with the internet and lust being so easy to attain and achieve, because you could see a naked girl like this, like within a snap, and sort of your lust be activated. I think women are definitely always on guard with guys lusting after them. I don't think a lot of guys, most guys, think a lot of guys don't realize, a good amount of guys don't realize that I think women are very perceptive as to when they're being lusted after, as to when they're being loved. So I think women are dealing with that a lot more, just guys, a lot more lustful guys, just because of what the internet and phone culture has, especially the phone culture. If we're going back to the main topic, it's super easy to access a bunch of lustful content on the phone. You don't even have to go to the main explicit websites. You could just go to TikTok or Instagram Reels, and there you go. It's the advertisement for, like, for example, OnlyFans is their advertisement, or not even just, you don't even need advertisement for OnlyFans. Just like just user generated content, dancers and all that stuff. Lust can easily be activated. So it definitely makes women a lot more closed off than before, because men are a lot more lustful than before. So women have to be on guard to all that. And women primarily want to be loved. They can, of course, they enjoy they can enjoy lust if it's sort of the right person, but primarily women want to be loved. And sort of the culture nowadays is producing, or the mobile phone culture is producing lustful men, not necessarily loving men, because I don't know how with the phone, when you see naked girls all the time, like half naked girls shaking their booty back and forth, it's super hard to produce loving men. It's extremely, extremely difficult. I think the natural progression of mobile phone culture, especially with like the algorithms in the society and climate, has to be lustful men. There's just naked girls, half naked girls everywhere. So that's sort of a big problem. So how that affects society on a large scale is that women are just saying, just sort of going WGTOW, women going their own way, and has sort of given up on just the notions of maybe finding someone to care for them, because guys are sort of a lot less respectable now. We're sort of taking a hard look at all the guys. Guys are a lot less respectable before, because I think a key aspect of being respected as a man is being, having solid character, being loving. And when you're lustful, um, I don't know, maybe I think in the right moment, in the right time, sometimes sometimes a woman will really latch onto that. Like sometimes maybe it's like, maybe if the novelty is there, like it's like India at the very beginning, or maybe you first meet, like if the novelty is there, I think that's something that can be capitalized on. But just for most situations, when a man is lustful, a woman's gonna lose respect for you because you're not loving. And so if you're not loving, she's not gonna respect you, and that's just gonna destroy the. That's gonna create a lot of friction. So that's really what sort of happens with that. And mobile phones, yeah, I think it's just gonna keep producing a lot of lustful men. I've seen kids talk about just like a lot of topics that they really shouldn't be talking about, or not just on the fact of what they should and shouldn't be doing. I didn't know half the stuff kids knows nowadays when I was a kid. So I guess definitely just all these TikTok girls. Not to blame them. It's sort of they don't know better. They really don't know better. So I say they do know better, but they don't care. It's hard to fix, but I think it's possible. Just we just need like a new, maybe a new discovery, some sort of new technology might fix that. And we have the last one. I phrase it as women primarily give their strength, or that's a way to say they give their bodies to show that they have deep respect, or that they really love someone, love a guy. And how sort of mobile phone culture has affected that. We have, of course, mobile phone culture allowing for guys to access a bunch of naked and bare, woman laid bare, at any time, any place, anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection. Um, and because of that, one of a woman's greatest, ooh, one of woman's like greatest faculties, aspects, and tools is sort of taken away from her. Sort of like her agency is taken away from her, because it's so easy to access online. And I think this last point is more so a compiling effect of all the other 3 points. Men are sort of less respectable than in the past because men are a lot less lustful. Women are a lot less sort of charming or lovable than from the past because they're unknowingly less respectful, because they're giving more of their attention to their phones, um, and also just onto that, like there's so much terrible content on their phones that women are absorbing a lot more poisonous content, which is making them a lot less lovable, a lot less charming. Because like if you believe that like there's 5 or 6 genders, and like the phone keeps telling you that there's 7 or 30 genders, of course that's gonna make you a lot less lovable towards men, because that's completely foolish. So just all those aspects compile, I think, into the last point that women primarily give their strength, and there's just so much friction nowadays between the two genders that it rarely happens like back in the 80s or 90s when yes, a relationship was a lot easier to form, and there was a lot more incentive for a woman to give her strength. On top of that, with mobile phone culture, we also have I think cheating culture, or what people call nowadays sneaky link culture, is really easy. I think women are always on guard to that, because now you can easily DM a girl on Instagram, message a girl, like just do a lot of things on the phone, and so women have to be a lot more careful, like really how they give their bodies and their strength away, because um, when they're competing, of course they're it's not as special, or they're competing with naked girls online, OnlyFans girls, all the adult actresses. And they're also competing with the dating marketplaces, of course, a lot bigger. So they're competing with girls all over the world. So they really have to be careful who they give themselves up to, because I guess guys do have a lot more options than they do in the past. So um, I guess it's harder to latch onto a guy, but at the same time, it's hard for a guy. I would say a good amount of guys nowadays to latch onto anything, because now women also know that there's a lot of other guys out there. There's a global marketplace, dating marketplace. So I think really the mobile phone, for point four, is just sort of a compiling aspect of all the last 3 points. They really factor up to women just not really putting out, or not putting out like a negative way, just not putting out like they used to, like back in the 80s or 90s, where it was like, okay, I don't have a phone, there's nothing else to do, let's talk to some guys or something like that. And yeah, that's basically maybe that's a more satisfying answer for point number four. It's like, now that with the woman, now let's go say a woman didn't have any phones, more of her attention would be towards guys like in person. And of course, I think naturally, I think guys sort of know what to do from there. So I think women would put out a lot more, and a lot more families, a lot more relationships, a lot more happiness in this world. So that's sort of a synopsis and summary of what phone culture has sort of done to society. Now we have a very interesting tool on our hands. We understand really concretely what phones do to ourselves and society. And so with this understanding, I think we can use this to sort of call people out, like, hey, you're on your phone too much, or you're being a screenager. We can really invite more activities that don't require people's phones, and that's definitely gonna build a lot more connection. Not just because people are off their phones, because of the the human gender dynamics that are at play, the attention, the more respect that's there, and I think things a lot better things should happen with that. And yeah, hopefully this was an insightful video for everyone, and hopefully this understanding will allow and give people more tools to sort of really understand each other better and sort of really um, take over from sort of the societal norms that we've been given.